So I've been in the world of medium.com for about a year now. And as a professional journalist, as somebody who works in the field every single day, I've got some opinions of this thing. And I'm going to share them with you. And I'm going to let you know if I think that Medium is still everything it's cracked up to be, or if it's just accomplished its tech company goals and moved on to something else. So Medium, if you're not familiar with Medium, just a real 30-second point of view of it, it's basically a place where you can go and blog and get paid to blog, right? But there's some questions around that, right? So the idea of it is that you get paid to write about things that you care about, write about things that are interesting to you. The more members, the subscribers that pay a certain amount per month for the subscription that read your article, you get a royalty off of it. It's pretty simple, pretty cut and dry thing if you think about it. But it's not that simple. You see, Medium is a great place if you're probably starting out. Here's been my experience. I've been on the platform for roughly a year now, right at a year. And I admit I've probably made some mistakes along the way. Key point number one, I made some mistakes along the way. Those mistakes where I wasn't submitting to publications, I was just treating it like a regular blog post, putting it on my own profile, letting it kind of live there. I didn't see the purpose of publications. That probably cost me a little bit of money, a little bit of usefulness, a little bit of shelf life on some pretty mundane articles. But here's what I've come to realize. Medium.com is a good place to practice your writing and get a few cents for that blog. Literally, a few cents. If you happen to luck into a content piece that goes medium viral, if you will, then you may be able to make top $100 maybe per article. Maybe there's some outliers there that make a little bit more, but you're not going to make what it takes to publish good content. You can get by, I was walking in the park one day and I found this. And if you have some sort of interesting take, maybe a few people will read it. Maybe you don't even have to have an interesting take. Maybe you just have a take and somebody grabs onto this thing, they latch onto it, boom, whatever. Okay. But here's the point. For a professional journalist, a professional editorial journalist, how does that play out for me? Simple point is it doesn't. And I'll tell you why. For me, I don't use photos from Upsplash or Pexels or anything like that. I generally go out and get my own photos. I'm a journalist. It's what I do. This is what I do every day. It's what I've done for the past 20 years. I go out, generally get my own photos, research my own stories, do my own stuff, right? Okay. And I create a package around that. Sometimes I'll create a YouTube video around it, and sometimes I won't. It just kind of depends. But thinking of ourselves no longer as journalists, but more as content journalists, right? Okay. There's a lot of hidden junk on Medium. I mean, there's the typical fluff stories about, people are paid to say nice things about companies and services and organizations and stuff like that. And it's a good tool for that. And then there's people out there who just, they write poetry and they write all sorts of stuff. And that's great. That's what Medium is for. But for a professional working editorial journalist or journalist in general, it's probably not your place, although I've had some success. So I've done some stories on Medium that, were fairly good stories, environmental stories, human interest stuff that really connected somewhat with the audience. And those stories have done pretty well. Now, they didn't pay me near what the story was worth. I don't think I could have taken that story to a magazine. I could have taken that story somewhere else and maybe made a lot more money off of it. But I didn't have to pitch it. I didn't have to deal with editors. I didn't have to deal with all that. I just went in and did a story, researched it like a journalist should do, took notes, did photos, whole nine yards, that were relevant to the story, not just random photos that didn't fit the story. But I did what a journalist does, created a cohesive book, a cohesive piece of work that would have fit in most any other magazine. But for whatever reason, I didn't pitch it to the magazine. I didn't pitch it to the Atlantic. I didn't pitch it to, the Independent. I didn't pitch it to the Daily Beast, these other places that I write for. What I did do is I just said, you know what, I'm going to let it live on Medium and see what happens. Story got boosted. Boosted didn't do much for it. I think it maybe showed it to 100 people. I decided, hey, look, you know what? This isn't worth it. I could work all day. I'm not going to make any money on this thing. And it ends up devaluing the story. But I think that's kind of what companies like Medium exist for. See, at its heart, Medium is not a publishing company. Medium could care less about the writers. They could care less about the content. They could care less about reaching an audience. They just care about generating money. They're a tech company. Their goal is to get to a number. Once they get to that financial number, start cutting the fat, start getting rid of things, start devaluing their own system so they can move on to something else. I think that's where Medium's probably at. Medium is not a place where people will go out anymore and find good content. Now, what they could do, because Medium is a very powerful platform, it's an extremely powerful SEO tool. But beyond that, what they could do for people who work in journalism, who are actually doing things to get to make the world go round, right? To inform, to educate, to inspire, to lead people to do great things. What they could do is partner with publications and help journalists get their story into the hands of the people that can publish it. And we all know editorial content gets devalued every single day. There's no real value in it. Whether you're a TV journalist, whether you're especially a radio journalist, if you're a print journalist, if you're a multimedia journalist, whatever you do, your work is getting devalued more and more every single day. I've always said this: the value of content, digital content, will always trend to zero. That's a fact. That is a fact. Whether it's a photograph, whether it's a video, whether it's printed piece, digital products will always trend to zero. And I'm going to tell you why. The reason that digital products generally trend to zero, nearly always trend to zero, is there's just too many of them. There's not enough people out there doing the work, good work. There's plenty of people out there doing shit work. And they're making that some value out of shit. That's what they do. You see it on YouTube. You certainly see it on Medium. And you certainly see it, in the world that we live in. Content, digital content, devalued to zero. And there's just because there's so much of it out there without any point, without any base, without any rhyme or reason to it. And that's digital content. That's how this thing works. So I think Medium is doing their part to devalue that content. Why they're doing this, I don't know. I think they would be better to promote high value content that could educate, inform, and inspire people. Do something, man, let me tell you something. If you're a tech person out there and you're listening to this, I'm telling you, I'm not a tech guy, but listen to me. I think there's a gold mine here. You take something and you work with some good quality writers, some good quality freelancers. You let them put their good quality work on your website and you help them distribute that website. And I mean, we're talking good quality photos. We're talking good quality text, maybe even a video component to it, something like that that's easy to navigate like Medium. Medium's very straightforward. If you took a platform like Medium and you attracted good, high quality writing. And I'm not just talking about good, I'm talking about good, great writing that could be in a National Geographic or something. And you attract those writers, that's a game changer. That's a game changer. That is a tool that could reach a lot of people. And that's a tool that could help a lot of people. For me as a journalist, Medium is tough because $20 for a high performing article isn't going to pay the bills. It's not going to pay me enough to live. It's not going to pay me enough to fund my next work that's, important. It's not going to fund me, create the funds to go out and get the photos. It's not going to create enough revenue for me to go out and even file the FOIAs, the Freedom of Information Act request. Medium does not do that. Medium is not a professional writing platform. I don't think it was ever meant to be a professional writing platform, but I think it was a place to give amateurs a few crumbs. So you're making money off of each other. So what are my overall conclusion of Medium as of today, almost the 1st of August, 2024? Not great. I think if you're an editorial journalist or you're somebody who has something really important to say, I think there's other places out there to do that. Places like Newsbreak. That's a good place. Go out there, use Medium for what you can use it for, get the pennies. Medium's going to have to prove that Medium is still a legitimate player. And that's what they're failing to do. They're failing to connect with people who can actually write. There are some important stories out there. I believe very strongly in citizen journalism, citizen writing, blogging. I believe very strongly that if we create a community newspaper of some sort, or a community blog site, or a community magazine, and you hire editors who are going through these thousands of submissions, and they're going for the, top, 10% of articles, 15% of articles actually make it onto the blog and they actually get shown to people. That you have to be discerning. If you were discerning, Medium, and you could quit deregulating the content market, there's certain advantages to regulation. I'm not a big fan of regulation, but there's certain advantages to it because gatekeepers keep quality high. Gatekeepers keep potential high. But you're going to have to offer people something. You're going to have to offer people something. People like myself who look for ways to fund our journalism work every single day. As a freelancer, it's what you have to do. Medium is a good place to put your stuff that's really not all that important. Your important work needs to go somewhere it's going to be valued. It's that simple. And Medium doesn't value important work. All right, that's my take on it. Be sure to subscribe and like and leave me a comment if you disagree. But yeah, let's talk about this. All right, take care.